Hi everyone, welcome back to Math Specs. My name is Stephanie and today we're going to begin our section discussing adding real numbers. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to develop the concept before by using what we call algebra tiles. So these little tiles represents, like this blue one represents a positive one, this red one represents a negative one. So when we combine a positive tile and a negative tile, this will equal 0. So as you can see here, we're asked to combine -2 and +5. So we're going to use our algebra tiles here to kind of model this addition. So here we have 5 positive blue tiles because we have, it's +5. And here we have 2 red algebra tiles, so 2 negative algebra tiles because we're asked to combine -2. So what we're going to do in this step is we're actually going to group them together. So we're going to group a blue tile, a positive blue tile, with a negative red tile. So we're going to pair them off. So this is one group, and this would be another group. So these would cancel, okay? They cancel out, kind of like cold and hot water. Okay, so then what do we have left over? We have 3 positive blue tiles. So when we combine 5 positive blue tiles with 2 negative red tiles and we pair them off, we're left with 3 positive blue tiles, so our answer is +3. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and develop this concept some more in the next slide. So here we have the algebra tiles again, and we're asked to add +1 and +5. So because these both are positive, I'm going to have blue tiles, which are here positive. Here's 5 for +5. And you notice that there are no red tiles. So we're going to write that here. There are no red or negative tiles. All of these are going to be positive. So there's nothing really to pair up. So when we add 1 positive blue tile plus 5 positive blue tiles, it will give us 6 plus 6. See? Because this is what is left over. This is what we would add together because there are no red or negative tiles for us to pair off and cancel out. We just do the addition, kind of like 1 plus 5, right? This is just another way for you to see the signs because here, sure, it's implied, but once we start dealing with negative numbers, it's important for you to understand the signs, like the negative signs and how that affects the answer. So here at the bottom, we have the sum of 2 positive integers is, well, what did we get here? We added +1 plus +5. And what is our answer? Our answer is positive. Okay, so think of this like the addition that you're used to. So if I take +3 and I say add it to +6, well, you just do 3 plus 6. It's going to give me 9, and that's positive, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and continue to the next slide. So here we're asked to use the algebra tiles to find the sum of 3 and -3. So I'm going to use the blue ones for my positive. So I have +3, so I'm going to write plus, plus, plus. And I have 3 negative tiles, so I'm going to write minus, 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 and I'm going to add these 2 tiles together. And because I have blue tiles that are positive and red tiles that are negative, I'm going to combine them into pairs. So this is a pair, and then this one will also be a pair, and this one will also be a pair. Okay, and all of these will cancel. So then what is left over? Do you see anything here that is left over? Now everything canceled out. So what do we write if there's nothing left? We would write 0. Okay, so this is what it would look like if, we would write it out, maybe 3 plus -3, that would be 0. Maybe you'll see it as -3 plus 3, that will give you 0. And later on in the next section, we may see it as, no, not 3, yeah, like maybe 3 minus 3, something like that. So this is just kind of to help you understand the way that positive and negative numbers work together and when we add them, okay? So let's see if we have something at the bottom. No. So we're going to continue to the next slide, and here we're asked to use the algebra tiles to find the sum of +5 and -2. So I have 5 positives, so I'm going to write plus signs in these blue ones. 3, 4, 5. And I'm asked to add this to 2 negative tiles, so here they are. Then I'm going to pair them off together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I have 2 negative ones. So these will group, and these will group, and they will cancel. Okay, so what is left over? What do you see is remaining? 3 positive blue tiles, right? So 1, 2, 3. So our answer would be +3. Okay. So here we had a sum of a positive integer, we had +5, and a negative integer, which was -2. And what was the sign of our answer? What did we get? We got a +3, right? So in this case, when we added a positive integer and a negative integer, we got a positive integer. But as we're going to see in the next slide, this can also be a negative integer. So let's go ahead and continue. And of course, if you have any questions, I will be more than happy to answer them. So in this example, we're asked to use the algebra tiles to find the sum of -3 plus 2. So we are going to have -3, so it's going to be 3 red negative tiles, so 1, 2, 3, and we're adding it to +2. So 2 is positive, so we're going to have 2 positive tiles in blue, so 1 and 2. And we're asked to add these algebra tiles together. So we're going to group them off. So I'm going to write my negative ones, 1, 2, 3, and my 2 positive ones, so 1, 2. Now I'm going to group these into pairs, and then they will cancel. And what is left over? What do you see as remaining? We have 1 red negative tile, so it's going to be -1. Okay, so here at the bottom, we have the sum of a negative number and a positive number is, this could also be integer. Okay, so here we had a negative number, integer, we had -3, and we added it to +2. And in this case, what was the sign of our final answer? It was negative. Okay, so make sure to kind of keep that in mind. And of course, as you get more practice, all of this will start to make a lot more sense, and it will just kind of become second nature to you. But the real challenge is understanding the negative numbers and adding them. Okay. So we're going to do some examples here. We're going to add 2 negative numbers. So we're again asked to use the algebra tiles to find the sum of -1 plus -5. So here we have our red tiles, and so we're going to write negatives right here. 1 plus -5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And is there really anything to pair off? No, because why not? Why can't we group these off into pairs? Because there's no blue tiles. So there's no blue tiles, so we can't make pairs. Nothing is going to cancel, so we just add them all. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our answer is going to be -6. So I'll write a equal sign there. So that is our answer. So here we have the sum of two negative numbers is what was our, we had -1 plus -5. And what was our sum? Our sum was -6. So it will be a negative integer. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on to the next slide. And now we're going to discuss the adding real numbers techniques, where we're going to use either a number line, the rules of addition, or the properties of addition. Okay, and we're going to do a lot of examples in our practice sets using all of these different techniques. So adding using a number line, I think, is probably the best way to begin, because we've been discussing number lines for a while. So when we add positive numbers, we move to the right of the number line. Because if you remember, a number line has two sides. So here's 0 in the middle, and our left side is negative, and our right side is positive. So if we add a positive number, we move to the right. And here at the bottom, if we add a negative number, we move to the left. So we're going to move in this direction. So let's do a quick example. So if, let's say, I want to add, let's do something relatively simple. So let's do 2 plus 5. So 2 is positive, so I'm going to go here on the right-hand side of 0. And I'm adding plus 5. So since 5 is positive, I'm going to move to the right. So I'm going to jump 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my answer would be 7, but you already knew that. But what if we wanted to do something that we didn't know? Say, for example, -8 plus 3. So I'm going to go to -8 on my number line, which is going to be to the left of 0 because 8 is negative. So I'm going to add plus 3. And since 3 is positive, I'm going to move to the right. So I'm going to jump 1, 2, 3. And this answer would be -5. Okay. And for the second one, you can add a negative number by moving to the left. Let's do something like 8 minus 5. You know that, right? What is 8 minus 5? Don't say it. We're not going to write it down, but let's start here. So I'm going to go to +8, and -5 is going to, well, we're subtracting 5, but I can also see this as adding a negative number by doing it like this. By writing this 8 plus -5. Okay, so we're adding a -5. So because 5 is negative, we're going to move to the left on the number line. So I'm going to jump 5 times to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that would be our answer. 8 plus -5 is going to give me +3. Okay? But what if I had something like, let's say, what if we had something like -2 plus -3? What would that sum be? So you would go to -2, which is going to be on the left-hand side of 0. Here it is. And I'm going to be adding -3. And because 3 is negative, I'm going to move 3 spaces to the left. So I'm going to jump 1, 2, 3. And that would be our answer. It would be -5. Okay, so I really encourage you to really look at this and maybe try different examples, and try to really prove it to yourself. Of course, you know, positive numbers are very kind of secondhand nature to all of us. Maybe you can do something like that, or you can also, you know, use negative numbers. Do something like this. it really is something that I would encourage for you to really interact with these two rules with the number line. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue to the next slide. So here we're asked to use the number line to find the sum of -3 plus 5. And here is our approach. We are going to start at -3. So because 3 is negative, it's going to be on the left-hand side of 0. So I'm going to go there. 1, 2, 3, here I am. And because 5 is positive, I'm adding a positive number. I'm going to move to the right. So here we are. And I'm going to jump. I'm going to move in this direction, which is the right. You can always kind of designate your left and right, kind of writing an L over here and an R over there. So I'm going to be here at -3, and I'm going to jump 5 spaces to the right because 5 is positive. So let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I landed at +2, and our answer is going to be +2. Okay. And I already answered this question, but go ahead and ask yourself, why are we moving to the right? This would be a really good study question if you wanted to look back at your notes and kind of dissect your approach. This would be a good way for you to test your comprehension. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next example. And we're asked to use the number line to find the sum of +2 plus -4. And again, our approach here at the bottom is to start at +2. +2 is going to be to the right of 0. And since we're adding -4 up here, we're adding -4, I will move to the left 4 units. So here we are at +2. So I'm going to move 4 spaces to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I landed at -2. And that's going to be my result, -2. And again, this would be a really good study question. Maybe you can ask your friends, hey, when we add on the number line, why do we move to the left when we add negative numbers? It could be a good question, a good conversation starter, I think. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next example. Here we're going to add 2 negative numbers. So go ahead and pause the video and fill out this approach down here. I've left it blank so that you can attempt it. Okay, so we will reconvene soon. Okay, hopefully you have all of this filled out. Let's go ahead and start. We're asked to find the sum of -2 plus -6. So for our approach here, the first step is to start at, we're going to start at -2, and it's going to be here to the left of 0 because it's negative. And we are going to move to, how many units? 2 or 6? We're going to move 6 units. In what direction? To the left. And we are moving to the left because 6 is negative. Okay. So let's go ahead and find out our answer. So here we are at -2, and we're going to move 6 units to the left. So I'm going to start counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there we are. Our answer is going to be -8. And hopefully you got that answer. And if you didn't, it would be a really good time for you to review this lecture and kind of see where here your comprehension may need some work. Okay, but if you have questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. So let's go ahead and continue to the next slide. So this is a really wonderful opportunity for you to try this on your own at home and really use the number line. You can make small number lines. Whoops. You can make small number lines on a sheet of paper and really kind of go at it, adding these numbers using a number line. I really do encourage this. This would be a really good opportunity for you to practice the skills that we're learning in this lecture. So of course the answers are going to be in the description below. So if you want to check your answers, they will be there for your understanding and for your learning. So let's go ahead and continue. So that is the end of our lecture of adding real numbers. Next time, we're going to discuss some rules of addition and some properties of addition, as well as do a lot more examples. Thank you so much for your time and attention today, and I hope to see you in the next lecture. Have a good rest of your day.